before we get to the exercises from last week, I want to introduce you to two verses from Scripture so that we can make a subtle, or I guess it's going to be more of a jolted transition into actually translating some of Scripture. The words in blue are going to be the ones that you don't, or not in blue, but that are underlined. You're not going to know, but hopefully we can be able to figure them out from context. Anybody want to take a stab?
Okay.
We can, let me see. This will be,
I can tell you the first word. And.
the first person that volunteers will deal with this line. This will be the second line. This will be the third. Fourth.
Yeah. I'm going to go flaming up the
This will be the fifth, and this will be the sixth. That should actually even help you in translation to divide it up like that.
We all crowd the board holes.
No need to crowd, just whoever wants to take a shot at it, pronounce, and we will work through it together as a class, so that there is no pressure. Sure, go ahead.
Kai, Esten, Auto, Ate,
Haute.
Haute, Hey, Angalea, Hey, Ake, Kos, Ake Ko, Amen, Af, Auto.
Up out to. Good.
Good. And I have, and he, and I'm saying the angel, which I'm being prompted, that's not angel.
No, it's not. And I apologize. This one you don't know yet, but we will learn that one today.
Okay.
Okay, so haute is going to be what's called a demonstrative pronoun. Demonstrative pronouns are this versus that. This is a near demonstrative, and that is a far demonstrative. So when I say this thing, I'm talking about something that's close to me. And if I say that, I'm talking about something that seems to be further away, distance, spatially, abstractly further away. So this one is going to be your feminine singular demonstrative pronoun, and it just is the near one, so it means this.
Okay. Did you correct that after you wrote it? Or?
What do you mean?
I mean, I wrote down alpha, upsilon, tau, omega.
No, I did not.
No, okay. That's
No,
my brain, sorry.
So to help you out, and this is Hey Angalia. Now we don't know Angalia, but we should be able to take a guess. We know Angelos, right?
Yeah.
Which is an
Angel.
or a
Messenger.
messenger. So if we were to engage in root fallacy, which just happens to work for us here, Angelos, we have Angalia, we'll even see Angalepamen, which is the verbal of it. This is that which is
So,
proclaimed, or it's the message. So, and this is the message. Pain is another pronoun we haven't learned, so don't get too overwhelmed by this. We're working through some stuff we don't know. This is the message. Any guesses? That or which? Yeah. This is the message which
we heard,
which we.
preached.
No. You
Yes.
had the right verb.
Have heard.
Have heard.
Okay.
Right. So this is the what form?
Yours.
Not the aorist. We have
Perfect.
perfect. Right. So we have the kappa.
so flustered and stuff. It just goes downhill from there.
we've got the kappa that's been reduplicated.
Yeah.
And then we have the alpha for the connecting valve.
Right.
So this is the message which we had heard. Op out to.
About E?
No, from apa. Peri with the accusative can be about, but
Okay.
apa with the genitive is from. From out to.
Yeah, that's the message we had heard from him.
From him. Good. So, writing under, and this is the message which we have heard from him. And yes, I know that it's not matching up under each one of the Greek words, but this will just serve as your translation as we work through. All right, number 2.
I'll take it.
All right.
And Ana Gelomen Humin Hati Hatheos Phos Est.
Good.
So it's and Ana Gelomen is, looks like it's also from Angelos.
Mm-hmm. Or it shares the same root. So angelos is the messenger, angelia is the thing that is the message, and the verbal form is
Verbal.
the proclaiming of the message.
Okay, so Anagelamen would be
We have proclaimed.
It's just the present form. It's we proclaim.
okay. Humin is it's a pronoun. You all and dative.
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, to you all,
Mm-hmm.
we all proclaim. We proclaim to. Hati is that or because. God in the nominative.
Mm-hmm.
Phos is light.
Good.
In the
You won't be able to use your paradigms for that.
actually, I will.
You know your third declensions?
Yeah, I just learned it today.
Okay.
So that's well, I could get it wrong though, but actually, there's a few things it could be, but I'm gonna guess nominative.
Yep, this will help you out here. It's
Estes.
a predicate construction, so that God
Light is.
so God is light. Good.
So Anangalomen was we proclaim.
Proclaim to you.
All.
Yep. That God is light. Now you notice something exegetically that's going on here, just so that we can draw out as much as we can from this. We have heard in what tense?
Perfect.
Perfect. And this is
Present.
right. So this is a message that has been heard, it's been received. by the apostle that's writing this letter, but he is actively and continually proclaiming that message which he has received. The message itself has the authority, and he's communicating that to the audience. All right, 3.
Kai Scatia en alto luc estin Udemia.
Good.
And darkness
Mhm.
in him. Okay, I don't think. And darkness is not in him. Oh, no, what are the last words?
Mhm. Not at all, or at all. Darkness is not in him at all. Or you could even say, and there is no darkness in him at all.
What it mean is at all.
Yeah, not one, literally. So Mia is one, and Ude is and not or not. It's an awkward construction, to be honest. And darkness is not at all in him. All right, 4. This will get a little interesting.
All right, I'll take a stab. Aeon, Ipomen, Hati, Koinonion, Echomen, Met, Altu.
Good. This will be a freebie.
Yeah.
If.
Okay. Eitelman is from to say.
Yes,
Okay.
I didn't highlight that word because you should know the word. You don't know the conjugation yet.
Okay.
But you can go ahead and translate it on this as if you did.
Okay. Well, I'm going to guess it's going to be at least in the first person plural.
Mm-hmm.
If we say.
Yep, if we say. Now, what's happened here is what letter should be there?
Omicron.
Omicron. So we have a mood that we haven't learned yet, and you don't have to worry about right now. But we have a mood in the Greek called the subjunctive mood. And all that happens is you lengthen your connecting vowels to get your subjunctive mood. In the subjunctive mood, we talk about things that are possibilities, things that appeal to the will. So that's why we have a conditional statement. Conditional statements have to be cast in the subjunctive mood. So simply, if we say,
That. Koinonia,
you know that word?
be fellowship.
Yep.
Um,
That's a word that gets thrown around in Christian circles quite a lot. Koinonia is the Christian brand of fellowship. Go
It
on.
helps to know the verse too.
Yeah.
Some familiarity there. But that must be in the, it must be feminine,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in the accusative.
Good.
Echomen is from to have. That is also going to be the first person plural.
Mhm.
So we have.
You say that we have fellowship.
Met is abbreviated from meta. That's going to be either with or under.
With or after.
After. depending on L2. Okay, and L2 is him in the genitive. So therefore, met is with.
Good. So if we say that we have fellowship with him, all right, let's try 5 now.
Kai, to, skotie, here, pa, tomen.
Yep, good.
Oh, okay. And in the darkness, we parapa.
Yep.
Let me try parapatomen.
It's from
No,
Perry Teo. We haven't had it.
is peri and pateo, is that how they're split or combined, or is that a fallacy? Or
I don't think that you will ever find pateo alone. I think
Okay.
that it is a word together.
okay.
There are some compound words like that that you won't ever see apart from the compound.
Okay. I know it's a first person plural
Yep.
because of the omen.
And I'll just give it to you because we don't have it.
Oh, that's where the peripatetic teacher comes from. Walking around teaching.
Mhm. So, and if we say that we have fellowship with him, and in the darkness we walk, and we walk in the darkness, notice what's being fronted here. We have koinonia, fellowship with God being fronted, and then our emphasis changes to, you say you have that fellowship, but you're in darkness. So the shift goes to the darkness. Number 6.
I'll try it. Unless anybody else wants to take it. Pseuda metha kai u poiumen tain aletheia.
Good.
So pseudo, right?
Any guesses at that?
That's like.
It's a what?
Like.
Well, yeah, exactly. We think that pseudo can be like something,
Yeah.
but also we have pseudepigrapha. We have a lot of words. I can't think of anything else that starts.
Pseudocode program.
Yeah, pseudocode. So it's false. Now, yes, it's not quite false, but we are trying to bring or present something as true, that which is false. We lie. Again, we haven't had it. So, and in the darkness we walk, we lie. Kai u poiumen tain aletheia.
So pseudometha, what's metha? Is this a combination?
Okay, so we have
It helps if I can break apart these words.
pseu damai. That's what the word is from.
Uh-huh.
That's the very root of the word.
Okay.
And we haven't learned middle passive verbs. Yeah, remember we've only been learning the the active verbs. The subject is doing the action. But my is a different sort of ending that we haven't learned, as is metha. Metha just means we. Don't worry, not there. We'll get there next week. So we lie, and then the rest of it.
The Bible verse says the truth is not in us.
I shall check. Because I thought I copied this straight from. I think that another verse is very similar to this.
Okay.
Yeah. there are very similar verses to this as well, because John kind of repeats himself in circles. So that's
So
not,
rely and,
have we had poieto? Oh, so that's the confusion. Okay, so this is poieto, and it means to do. So,
This is the message we have heard from him as the ESV, proclaim to you that God is light and in him is no darkness at all. We say we have fellowship with him while we walk in darkness. We lie and do not practice the truth.
yep, we do not do or practice. And you should have, we have learned this, right? The truth.
Yeah.
Good. I know that was difficult, but I don't know if you found it to be a productive practice, but getting into a little bit of scripture, even though you haven't learned all of the words.
That's good.
So when you finally get there and you feel more comfortable, you can start to notice things like fronting here, fronting in the prepositional phrase, and those sorts of things can be brought out in your own learning or teaching. Like there's a contrast between the darkness and the light that's going on, and the contrast is being brought out in the way that we practice or the way that we walk versus what we say. All right. Now take a breather.
I want all of you on my team. If we ever have a Greek versus Greek contest.
That would be fun. Don't put ideas into my head you don't want to come to fruition.
Yeah.
Then I'll take you on my team. If it says between two, times two.
All right, so from last week, we did cover the perfect and the pluperfect. And I'm sure we have plenty of questions from the exercises. Anyone want to start off? And you don't have to read the Greek, you can just translate.
Let's go right that one.
Okay.
Oidate, hote. Yeah, remember it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were here, we did this in class last week.
okay.
We left our brains on the table and walked out. Hoidate, hote, humas, seskokin, ho, huios, tu theo. Y'all, how did I have? Oh, I broke it up. You all know that the Son of God has saved you.
Good. Any questions there?
Yeah, that in caveman, that was, you all know that he has saved the Son of God.
But that's not caveman.
Well, that's word for word.
That, not quite,
But I had to break the clauses up.
right?
The,
In very caveman word for word, it's you know that
yeah,
he has saved
Right.
the Son of God. Because you can't just say you have saved because there's not subject-verb agreement there,
okay.
right?
Because between you and has saved,
Mhm.
you're saying there's disagreement.
Right, that's why you,
So
in
how
your
do you
final
know?
translation, you had it right. You said the Son of God has saved you.
Okay. So where do you get the he out of this? From the ending? Masculine?
no, it's
Says
Sokin.
Soken.
singular.
Is the noun, or is the
Mhm.
third person, right?
Perfect.
Right,
So that's where you get the he.
yes. So
Okay.
that may be something we need to review. So Sisoken has the in ending. So in the perfect, we have ka, kas, kin, kamen, kata, kasen.
Uh-huh.
So the in ending tells us it's third person singular. Now, humas, regardless of the case, which happens to be accusative, so it can't be the subject, but regardless of the case, it's second person, right? You is second person. second, happens to be plural. So we have a third singular verb, so its subject cannot be second singular. Its implied subject would be he, she, or it, just from the third singular ending. And then we have ha, theos, which helps to clarify what that subject would be.
Theu.
Or
It was tu, theu.
haquios, sorry. And huios is a third singular, so that matches up. Number 9.
Gauss comment, hati, ecno comment, autan, hati, epis, ju comment, and auto. Good. We know that we have known him because we have trusted in him.
Good. See how he played a little bit of theology into that? I don't know if you noticed he used the present tense. We currently, or we actively know that we have come to know him, something that has happened in the past and has enduring consequences for the present, because at some point in time in the past we have believed or we have trusted in him. I know it's not particularly fun to exegete an exercise that's not actually biblical, but he was doing that on purpose. 10.
Ego, Eureka, Jane, Aletheon, Ut, Empis, Jusate, Nay. I have said the truth, but you did not believe me. But you all did not believe me.
Good.
Is that said?
Mhm. What did you have? Found? Found is, it seems like it might be a little bit similar, but it's curious. Go.
The iota and the upsilon.
Mhm. For that one, you would have had to go to, where are you?
I had a list.
Yes,
That's
then.
how I got it.
This is where I'm not finding. Eureka. Oh, there it is. So at the very bottom of page 77, vocabulary B, Eureka is from Apon.
And this is where I thought, because he had the I have said, because
Mhm.
he had the two places, that was why I wasn't sure whether it was, I had kept saying,
Right.
because
But-
it was emphasis. But you already told me that
Yeah.
just because they're two together doesn't make the word kept show up.
Right. The ego, or the additional pronoun, just draws emphasis to the pronoun. Now, you couldn't have kept on saying for the perfect anyway, because perfect doesn't have the durative concept.
Okay.
Now, it happened in the past, and it has consequences for the noun, but the imperfect is the one that we look at as a progressive, or the present has progressive. You know, I am walking, and I was walking. Those are the present and the imperfect for the Greek. The perfect would be I have walked. 11.
Per hemon, etoimakin, ho theos, basileion. And
Basileon.
Basileon. For us, God has prepared a kingdom.
Good.
But now I got, for the hetoimakin, that is perfect. It's the third singular. Again, yakin.
Yes.
Okay, so Where do you come has prepared, other than it's not have prepared?
Well,
For the present, has?
you
or-
can't say he
I
have
you
prepared.
Has, okay.
Right.
Okay,
That's just an English conjugation.
okay. And I was hung up, there's no article before kingdom too.
He has prepared a kingdom. God
Yeah.
has prepared a kingdom.
Not article, but, yeah, an article.
Yeah, you're thinking theologically he has prepared the kingdom to come, but he's getting at grammar more than he is at theology.
Well, I wasn't worried about that. I was thinking about it's hotheos basilion, and that's the article before theos still trips me up. The God kingdom.
Right, but we have two different parts of speech here, right? You're translating it perfectly, but the article doesn't have to be with the direct object. God, as the subject, has the article
Okay.
in this instance. So the two of them don't have to match. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by match?
You don't have to have ha, theos, pain, ba, se, lay.
Well, I don't mean a direct article like the and a, like.
Oh, yeah, they just don't have.
Okay. Okay.
We have definite articles, we do not have indefinite articles in Greek.
Okay.
Now, you can
That
in
seems like that
certain
could be
instances.
dangerous in translating, couldn't it? Or,
It can be, I mean, the articles can be very dangerous in general in translation, you just have to be very careful.
okay.
Just if it doesn't have an article, for the most part, it's indefinite. For the most part. There are instances where that's not true.
Except,
So it's not wrong to add an A before a word.
Right.
Okay.
Because English
No.
idiomatically, we need the indefinite
Yeah.
article.
otherwise it'd be the God kingdom, and it doesn't really sound like something he's prepared for us.
Right. If you were to translate it without the article in English, it would be God prepared for us kingdom. And it doesn't work for English.
Okay.
A kingdom. All right, 12.
Ake Kawate, Ati Amar Tenka, Kanatu Curio.
Mhm.
You all have heard that I have sinned against the Lord.
Good. Questions on that one?
How do you know when it's the Lord and Master?
Context.
So, Joseph says, how can I do this sin against God and my master?
But that's Hebrew.
Yeah. That would be Hebrew.
What's the Septuagint?
It probably would be. It'd be a difficult one for the Hebrew, for the Greek to
It might
render
be
that.
God, curious, theos and curious.
Well, Lord, my Lord would be kurios, and my master it may even be despotes or something along those lines, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Rabbit
13.
Ego es keka tron ke irianen alasu tapantas oteu eportas tolin kurion.
Good.
I have had joy and peace, but you have suffered because you did not have trust in the Lord. Or you have not trusted in the Lord.
Yes, because you have not trusted the Lord. Good. That wasn't too painful. I'm sure it was when you actually did the work. But you came up with all the right answers, so that's good. We can take a short break, and then we'll come back and see if you want to go on to the next chapter. The next chapter isn't very difficult, or if there are particular issues that we have that we would like to recover. So.
Question about 9.
Yes,
Um,
chapter 9 or?
No, exercise 9.
Yes.
The Agno Common and the Pepis Jew Common, those are both
Perfect.
perfect?
Mhm. So why is that the case? If you would recall, and it's an obscure rule that I'm barely remembering right now,
Okay.
we have gnosko, but its true root is, do you remember?
No.
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 So the rule is that anytime a double consonant begins the word, gamma nu, you do not have reduplication. You only have the augment. So then we have egg, a common.
Okay. I see.
As opposed to geg, no common.
Okay. Thanks.
It was one of those rules that was mixed in with thera puo is not the therapuo, it's te therapuo, because deaspiration takes place.
Okay.
Or te therapuka.
So,
Is that the question?
yeah,
Sometimes I answer questions that are prominent in my mind, but not necessarily in someone else's.
okay, so it still takes that pastime morpheme then,
Yeah,
epsilon.
it does.
Okay. And that is,
And it still takes the kappa alpha, which is your
right,
perfective aspect morpheme.
okay. So that epsilon is normally kind of included in the reduplication?
It is. So
Okay.
pistuo becomes pe, pistu, ka. The epsilon is,
Okay.
because you're not going to have papa.
Okay.
So you have to have a phonological cushion. But the cushion is actually the pastime morpheme. Are there any syntactical issues that we're having with previous chapters?
Where to begin?
Define syntactical.
So my approach here is going to be twofold. One is to find out if you have syntactical issues, and the other if you're having memorization issues or things that we need to go back over because you're not getting the way something is constructed. Syntax, what I mean by that is like we're not understanding attributive adjectives, substantival adjectives, substantive, predicate adjectives, that kind of thing. Like how words are specifically arranged in certain constructions to create certain meanings. It's mainly a question of, did I not explain something well, or are we just not memorizing everything?
I think it's more likely the error is on our side.
Well, I could always not be explaining it well enough to be memorized. Would a recap of all of the verbs be helpful? Would a recap of all of the declensions be helpful?
For me,
Okay.
before you guys arrived, I already confessed, I can't keep up with memorization. So.
Well, the only way I can is because I have to for my graded quizzes, so that helps. There's accountability.
And a younger brain.
Okay. Be sure. All right, because today was calendared as a review day. I would like to press on because what's in chapter 11 isn't difficult syntactically or memorization-wise because it's still the same endings that we've learned for all of the declensions. But if you need to go over more stuff, then we can. Just let me know. We'll press on here, and if next week we feel like we need a week to recap, then we can do that. Okay, turn to chapter 11 then. Demonstrative pronouns. So far, we have learned personal pronouns, right? What were those? Just in English.
You.
Yeah.
I.
Yep.
I, you, she, him, her.
Good. I, you, you all, we, our. I just said that. He, she, it, they. So we've covered those. Now we're doing demonstrative pronouns. And here is the tragic thing about Greek. Demonstrative pronouns are simply this, which is a near demonstrative. I've already said that. And that, which is the far demonstrative. But of course, in typical Greek fashion, we have to have
No, I did the versions.
24, 48 different versions.
Good. Bring it on.
Right? Because we have to have masculine, feminine, neuter, and then we have to have it in the nominative, genitive, dative, and accusative, or both this and that. We can simplify this, as I am always a fan of doing, to learning fewer forms. In the masculine, we have hutos for near demonstrative.
So this is 30 different ways of saying this.
24 different ways of saying this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 down, 24 different ways.
I see 2 columns or 2 tables, singular and plural. With 4 different. Oh, okay.
Good.
For it.
Okay, so hutos is our singular, this will be our singular column here, nominative. Genitive, dative, accusative. So what are we going to do with hutos? We're going to do essentially the same thing we've been doing with pronouns. Tau is going to come with it, just like your article did. And we're just going to decline it down. Hutos becomes 2, 2. Sure I'm right. And then the dative is 2, to. 2, fill it in, ton. How about the masculine plural?
Toy.
Hutoi. Genitive.
Toe.
Two-tone. Dative.
Toys.
Two toys. Accusative.
Tutus.
Good. Tutus. It's not too bad. I don't think. Is it? So, all you really need to do is learn the nominative forms of your masculine, your feminine, and your neuter. So hutas is your masculine. Get rid of this so that we have more room. Your feminine is, anyone?
Alte.
Alte. And let's go down without looking at your books. You should be able to do this now. What are we adding?
Tau.
Tau. And then we're taking this over. Tau. And then what? Genitive?
Eta sigma.
Eta sigma. Tautate. Dative. Tau. Te. Accusative. Tautane. Plural.
Tai.
Tie. Good. Tautai. Going down. Tau.
Tone.
Tone. Going down.
Tau toy.
Tau.
Toys.
Tice. Tau. Tus. Good. And then finally, this is going to be the only one that sort of breaks this hutas, aute sort of pattern. We just start with tu, ta. Sort of makes it easier to go down because we just take that form and do the same thing we've been doing. So tau ta, what is it now? Tau,
Two.
tu, tau,
Tone.
to, tau. Yes, I heard the first answer. All right, how about for our, okay, good. Plural. Hmm? No, sorry. Yes. This is memorizing kicked in there. This is our only exception here to doing everything like we've just done. It's tau, ta. But then we go back to, and of course our nominative and our accusative are the same, so truly it's two exceptions, tau, ta. But then we fill in here to, tone, and to, twice. Very good. And I appear to have done one other thing wrong. Run one small thing wrong. So check your chart that you just created and correct this. Two-tone. So your genitive plural stays the same for every single declension, producing a exception for these three instances from that way of memorizing. I do apologize. Next, we have our FAR demonstratives, starting with ekanos. Want to guess how we're going to do this? Do it for me.
Okay.
Good. Then, Ben,
Kanon,
Ben,
Kanoi, Kanon, Kanois, Kanus.
good. Next, we have what? Ecane, nay. Keep it going for me.
Canos.
Ecanos.
Canes.
Ace. I say, you looking at the book and I've got it wrong because you memorized it. All right, next.
Cane.
Ecane, good.
Canon.
Ecane,
Cane.
good. All right, next.
Kanai, Kanon, Kanais, Kanas.
Next.
Kano, Kanu, Kano,
Okay.
Kana, no,
Nah.
na,
You had it right the first time. Ecay,
na, no,
Ecay,
no,
noon.
okay, nice. Okay, na,
Good. We didn't really have to recover our declensions because we just did. Those are all of our forms of the demonstrative, and that's essentially the chapter. So if you learn this form, not this form, you can get that form. This form, this form, this one. You really should be able to get the rest, but if it makes you feel more comfortable, learn those as well. You learn those forms and you're golden, so long as you know your first and second declension. That means this and that.
and these and those,
What now?
and these and those.
Yes, and these and those. These for the plural form and those for the plural form. Good catch. Okay, so the last thing you need to know about this chapter, other than the forms, is simply the uses of the demonstrative. So that's on the next page, page 81. You're going to notice something that's rather important.
The feminine for this,
Did I get that wrong?
hafte, no, that's gonna be annoying, isn't it?
Halte?
Yeah,
Yes, because of why?
because of
Alte
pronoun, yeah.
is your third person feminine singular of the masculine. I mean, of the nominative, sorry.
Don't be.
It is not a confused pronoun. So it is simply the difference between a smooth and a rough breathing mark. That's it. Alte versus halte. Why some of those breathing marks and accents start to get a little bit important, a little more important as we go. But if you pronounce it, you should be okay. Just make sure you pronounce it when you're translating. Okay, if you look at those examples, you're going to find something. And what you're going to find is that the near and the far demonstrative pronouns always appear with an arthrous or with a definite article with the noun that it is accompanying. Does that make sense? Okay. Two terms, arthrous and anarthrous. Anarthrous means without an article. Arthrous means with the article. So, say for instance, I say this man. In Greek, man will always have the article. It will not be without it. So you can say, this is an English example of what it would look like in Greek. This, the man, or the man, this. That will be the construction you will always see when this, these, that, those is used. The important thing about that is, what construction is that? Is it a adjectival? I mean, not an adjectival, an attributive, a predicate, or a substantive construction as we've learned it. The article is with the noun, so it is a predicate construction, and that's where we get a little tricky here. It will always be in the predicate construction when it is modifying a noun. So you can't say this is the man in the same way we were able to say it before. So it's going to be in a predicate construction, but we're going to translate it almost as if it was an attributive construction. This man.
Well, like here, Hebrews 7:1. Hotos ho Melchizedek mene Hirius.
Hirus. Yep, so that would be translated, this Melchizedek.
It's not this the Melchizedek.
It's not this the Melchizedek, and it's not this is Melchizedek. That's important. It's this Melchizedek. And the following one is hutoi, hoi lagoi, pistoi, kai alethenoi. These words.
These the words.
Are faithful and true. So it's not going to have an article. The demonstrative pronoun cannot have an article with it. It will be in a predicate construction, and it will be translated as if it was an attributive. The only way you can get a predicate construction with it, which you can, is with to be verb. So, are we okay with erasing this, or do you want to keep that up there? Okay.
So it's basically acting like an adjective, but it's kind of a disobedient adjective.
But it's what now?
Disobedient?
Yes.
Okay.
I wouldn't. Now that is a good way for us to think about it, in the sense that we've learned these sorts of constructions according to the way that the adjective has been constructed. But it's a pronoun and it has its own syntax. So calling it an adjective is technically wrong. But remembering it as a disobedient adjective helps us to categorize it and to understand the construction. So yes, I like that. A disobedient adjective. Or maybe we could just say, to be more grammatically correct, a disobedient modifier.
Yeah, why are you saying disobedient?
Because it was in the predicate position, because it comes without an article.
Right.
But it's functioning as an attributive.
Okay.
So how about this?
Does that make sense?
How would we translate that?
Melchizedek is good.
Good. Right? So the noun is Melchizedek. It has the article. So this is a predicate construction. Melchizedek is good. How do we translate then article is with the adjective. Now, how would we translate?
This Melchizedek.
Right. So what we're saying here, or what Dale is saying is this is a disobedient modifier. Because
It's hard
it
to
is
think of that
the
as a
same.
modifier, though, because it's not really modifying it, it's more of a directive, it's saying this Melchizedek.
Well, pronouns stand in the place of,
I think an adjective is one that describes.
in this particular sense, this isn't going to be a modifier. It's going to be a referent to something that comes before.
Right.
It is a pointer, exactly. So even a disobedient modifier isn't an appropriate way to categorize it. We're just trying to make sense of the fact that it is the same construction as this one. This one is a predicate construction, and we have learned to associate the to be verb with a predicate construction. This is an attributive construction, and we have learned that it is just good Melchizedek,
Okay.
right? This is a predicate construction, as he says.
So that's where you get the is from
Right.
the predicate construction.
So
To be.
while this is a predicate construction, we think, according to what we've learned before, this is Melchizedek, but it's not. It's disobedient. It's just the or this Melchizedek. That is the way that we construct the demonstrative pronoun. It's always in the predicate position.
So
but
you
it is
say,
not translated.
This is Melchizedek.
Now, to say this is Melchizedek, we have to use
Yeah. So you don't conjugate the be verb implicitly.
right. This one, or this is Melchizedek. We had that same construction in the 1 John passage we translated, right? This is the gospel, which we have heard. We did just fine with that because the to be verb was included. So in order to get the predicate construction, where we translated it as a predicate, we have to have the to be verb. But this construction is always in the predicate as defined by the constructions that we've learned previously, and it's just this Melchizedek. Okay? A bit confusing, I know. But that's it. That is the demonstrative pronoun. Both in this instance, this Melchizedek, and this is the gospel, or this is the message which we have heard, it's pointing back to something that has gone before, some sort of descriptor that has been describing Melchizedek as the high priest who has no lineage according to Aaron, etc. So it's referring back to that information. For 1 John, this message which we have heard has just been described in verses 1 through 4. It is the message which we have heard, which we have seen, which we have felt with our own hands, etc. It's Christ in himself crucified. It's that message that he's referring to. So haute or hutos can have a very large import because it's talking about what has come before. And it even can talk about what comes next. This is the message which we have heard. It was Christ who came, who preached, who died, who lived, etc. So it can be referring backwards and it can be referring forwards. Just like the pronouns that we use can. Any questions on those? What'll help you get this down is to take the examples that he has in the book already and study those.
A lot of vocabulary this time.
There is. We haven't had vocabulary for around 2 weeks now. So now you have
So
it.
we're gonna make up for
We will. So let's go ahead and pronounce them. I'll pronounce it, and you pronounce afterwards, and I'll give you the definition. We'll go through those, and I'm sure we'll have about 15 to 20 minutes left to do some exercises. Akanos, that. Hutas,
it. Utas.
this. Amnos,
Amna.
lamb.
Yeah.
Artos, bread.
Agnes is Latin, right? Agnes Dei is Lamb of God in Latin, right?
You'd have to ask Susan. My vocabulary is a little
Yeah.
shoddy in Latin. That sounds
Okay.
close. Diabolos. Diabolos. Sorry, diabolos. Slander. Slanderer or devil. Ekthros.
Ekthros.
Enemy. Helios.
Helios.
Son. Thronos.
Ranos.
Throne. Kairos.
Kairos.
Time or occasion. Karpos.
Karpos.
Fruit. Laos.
Las.
People. Naos.
No.
Temple or sanctuary. Be very careful to not confuse the two of those, laos and naos. Laos is people, naos is temple. Uranos,
Uranus.
heaven. Ophthalmos,
Ophthalmos.
eye. So, Petros, Peter, or anyone?
The rock.
Rock, good. Petra is rock as well. Staros,
Stauros.
Stauros, yep. Cross. Tapas, place, like topography. Tuflos, blind man. Flitos,
Flitlos.
Philos, yeah, Philos. Philos, friend. So like Philadelphia.
Can we go back a couple? Stauros. That's the cross. It's in the cross of Christ. It's not a.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Stauros.
Okay.
I know there's
That's what
a
we'll see.
huge debate with the Jehovah's Witnesses as to what that actually is, but yeah, it's cross. Stauros. So yeah, Philos, his friend. Phobos,
Phobos.
fear. Chronos,
Chronos.
time, chronology. Phobos, phobic. Some of these are very easy to remember.
I know she said diabolos is slander. I
Slanderer
know the
or
Hebrew Satan is accuser. I'm saying
yeah. It is not from the same root. It's not like
it's curious. These
transliteration.
two words, two completely different words, yet they mean the same thing, at least in our humble language.
What do you mean?
Satan and diabolos. Accuser.
Yeah, they're just different titles for.
Okay. The same meaning behind each. Okay.
What do you mean?
Well, slander sounds like an accuser.
There's a different nuance. Slanderer is
Somebody was telling something wrong.
right, and
But
an
accuser can't hear
accuser.
the truth behind it.
Well, it can.
Accusing
It's
that you're doing something wrong.
specifically with. I mean, Satan brings just charges against us, does he not? It's in the courtroom of God. Well, God is actually the one that brings just charges.
But he
against
is the
us.
father of lies, and when he speaks his native language.
Yeah, he does, but he can
Yeah.
also just as well tell the truth about our own actions, and they
Yeah.
be condemning. God does the same to us. It's just that Christ has stood in our place. Biblion,
Biblion.
book. Daimonion,
Daimonion.
demon. Hemation,
Hemation.
cloak or a garment. Mysterion,
Mysterion.
secret. Paideon,
Paideon.
child. Ploion,
Ploion.
boat. Sabaton,
Sabaton.
Sabbath. Semeion
Semeion.
is a sign. So you should have about half of those already, like Diabolos, Sabaton, Paideon, Pediatrics, Mysterion, mystery or secret, Daimonion, a demon, Biblion, simply a book, Chronos, Phobos, Philos. Those should be familiar. But it's a lot of vocabulary, but it's not too bad. They are words that have a lot of cognates in
Yeah.
English. So
And even plion, I was thinking of ships ply the seas.
you could do that,
Yeah.
yeah. All right, let's try our hand at a couple of exercises now. Note that there is a spelling mistake on 5 that
Really?
should be corrected in the next edition. The last word on exercise 5, it's spelled diamonio, and it should be di. Delta, alpha, iota, so don't let that trip you up.
It should be delta alpha iota. That's what it is in our old version.
So, nice.
Yeah.
It was right in the old one, in the new one it's not.
Yeah, it's a moving target.
Okay, so number 1, any brave soul.
Hutas ha apostolos genoske ekenon ton apostolon.
Good.
This apostle knows that apostle.
Very good. Need a second to digest that?
Yeah, okay, known.
Okay, so it's from ekenos, and it's in the accusative, so it takes the omicron new ending, ekenon. And
But
it means
it's,
that.
yeah, almost completely spelled differently from the word just before it.
From hutas,
Genoski, I'm sorry, genoske,
right?
okay, known, but this apostle knows that apostle. Oh, okay,
Right.
I'm with you. I got it. Okay.
All right, 2.
Hutoi hoi, no, hutoi hoi, anthropoi, kuusen, ekena, ta, idea. Hutoi is these. Hoi is men in the accusative.
Oi. Yep, plural nominative. If it were the accusative, it would be us.
Yes. Okay. Thanks. Aku usen is to hear, and that's third person plural.
Good.
So it's men here. Akena is far. those children.
Good. These men hear those children.
Hautos lepe eke non ein tau no nao
To na'o.
to nao. So they saw that in the gnaw.
Okay, so I did-
now is.
I did forget to cover one use of the demonstrative pronoun. You have your essentially this Melchizedek. This is Melchizedek.
Yeah.
And if we just use hutos alone, just like we did for the adjectives, it can be substantive. So this one.
Would it be this one or this man?
Could be this man, more
Okay.
specifically if you wanted to.
So hutos blepe ekenon in tau neo. So this one saw that in the, and I don't know what that last word is.
In the temple.
Temple. Oh,
Naos.
naos, okay.
And if you wanted to be more specific, that was just fine. This one sees that in the temple, or you could say this one sees that one in the temple, or this man sees that man in the temple. Any of those are acceptable. Again, these are pronouns, which means that something had to come before for them to take the place of, and we don't know what that something is. So it makes it a little more difficult to translate. Number 4.
Can you talk about that omega on the end of the temple, the na'au?
So our word is naas, and if we decline it down, it's naas, na,
Okay.
u, na, o.
So it's neuter, dative, singular.
It is naas. Naas is our masculine, so it's masculine dative.
Masculine, dative. Okay.
Mhm. And it has to be in the dative because we have the preposition in before,
In.
which only goes with the dative.
Okay.
4.
Alte, eke, array name, and te, cardia, outtakes.
Good. Now be careful here with that first word. You pronounced it aute, but
Halte.
good.
This is,
Feminine.
yeah, feminine,
Oh, it's-
Good.
this,
So you said when it's by themselves, you'd say this one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry, Dale, I didn't mean to
no,
jump.
no, that's good.
It's a team effort.
Yeah.
And that's in the nominative.
Mm-hmm.
And K is to have.
Good.
This one has array name, piece in the accusative singular. In the heart, te cardia is nominative?
Mm-hmm. You have your iota subscript.
Oh, okay, data,
Good.
yeah, okay, yeah.
That's right.
Altace is not demonstrative,
Good.
which makes it pronoun. um, Her.
Yes? So put it all together.
um, She has peace in her heart, or this one has peace in her heart.
Good. Or this woman has peace in her heart.
You could say this woman for Alte.
You
Alte.
can specifically because of the
Or-
fact that we have Altes at the end that's telling us that it's her heart. So it is most definitely a woman in view here.
Well, yeah,
This woman has peace in her heart.
littered with Adas, isn't it?
What now?
It's littered with Adas.
It is. 5.
Aku aman tautain tain parabalane.
Akusama.
Yes, you're right.
Yes.
Aku salmon tautain tain parabalane. Peri tone paneron
Misspelled.
daimonium.
Good.
We heard. It's not Eris?
Sona.
You saw me. Yep. We will hear.
Good. What would it have been if it were, let's pause here, if it were
Salmon.
Aku salmon.
close? So
With
we'll
an
do
alpha.
ku salmon.
With no alpha at the front? Yep,
When we
that's
have a,
Ada.
yes, when we have a vowel to begin a word and the aorist, it lengthens to its corresponding letter.
We will hear. I have no idea what something is.
Right here. Feminine.
Oh.
It is.
Remember we had the tau for the near to the lines, yeah.
If it goes with the article, Jacob, it looks like the pattern here is just the article plus a prefix, like tautane, tautane.
Yeah, I mean, that is another way of thinking of it.
So we hear this parable about the evil devil. Devils. The evil devils.
Not quite. Diabolos is devil.
Oh,
Daimonion
Yeah.
is
demons?
Yes.
And if they were blue,
Yes.
Diablos.
Cute. 6.
So what was the answer for 5?
5 was, we will hear this parable about the evil demons.
Okay. Hautoi, exousi, karan, ekenoi, de, exousen, amatian, and tais, cardias, autoin. We have this joy. No.
If it were we have, it would have
It
to
would
be.
almond, yeah.
Yep, good.
Sorry, he, no, you.
Hey.
They? Yes.
If we look at if you look at your endings, I know that we're throwing in a lot of things. We're throwing in pronouns, we're throwing in all kinds of subjects and whatnot. If we look at our verbal endings, which we have drilled, we have, right? Oase, aminet, usum, then we should be able to help
Yeah.
ourselves
Yeah.
a bit.
It is we, right?
No, no, no.
No?
They.
Hoitoi, because I'm seeing hoitoi over here, that my
Mhm.
chart is plural,
Yeah.
masculine.
These, yeah.
What am I looking at? What am I pointing at?
These.
These. Yeah, see, I'm forgetting English now. I, you, we, y'all. So that we have this joy?
It's these. These have. It's inclusive. Which means somebody. These have.
Why is it these? These sound like third person.
This. That's third person.
Why? Well, what about?
Okay.
We're looking at two different words.
Things like I, you, we, you, our, me, my, ours, yours, etc. Those are all first and second person.
Right.
Right? Anything else, he, she, it, they, we, I mean, not we, he, she, it, they, theirs, the men, the women, the boys, the girls, etc. All of that falls underneath the third person, either singular or plural. So if it's not I, you, we, yours, ours, etc., then it's going to be third person.
Okay.
So hutoi is they. Hutoi. Or not they, these ones. And these ones matches with third plural of ekusin.
Okay, so this and these.
This and these, right. This is the singular, these is the plural.
Okay.
Or these are the plural.
Okay. These have this joy
Okay.
that
Ekenoi is plural.
They. Yeah, but those.
Okay. But those sin, but they have sin in their hearts.
But those have sin in their hearts.
Those have sin in their
Okay,
hearts.
so these ones have joy, but those ones have sin in the hearts of them, or in their hearts. And we will break with that. It is okay. It really is. You forget something.
I'm forgetting English. I mean,
No.
it's all just, it's like what the Marines do to you. They break you down.
The way that we have I've set this class up, it stretches each and every one of you a lot more than most classes would. We cover what we did from last week. We cover a completely new lesson, including new vocabulary,
Yeah.
and then you're expected to translate immediately. So don't get discouraged. Go back and learn the vocabulary, learn the lesson, and learn the translations.
What do you want us to do for next week?
Do from 7 until 15.
Okay.
And then just learn your forms.
Okay.
And learn